sometimes, like today, there's technical difficulties. So some stopping and starting usually happens when there's strange things happening in the internet world or the connection world. But about connection, I am going to share with you something I've been talking about in regards to journaling for children. So today, rather than just me talking, I'm going to show you, like I have done before about my own journal pieces, I'm going to show you something of my children's and how I've been collecting it over the years. But we're going on a little bit of a road trip round the corner to where I have stored the treasures, and I'd like to bring you with me. So hold on tight, it won't be long, and we will be at our destination. The lighting is going to change and it's going to look a little bit weird, but welcome to another part of my home. And I'm going to just set you up here so that you can see something I prepared a little earlier. Right. So over here in the corner, and hoping we've got all the lighting just right for you. And if not, that's just because we're not in a studio. Here I have the treasure box. The treasure box that I've been collecting, oh goodness knows. I probably purchased this as a raw pine furniture piece, and I varnished it up myself, and I've been using this to store the treasures in for the family. And it doesn't store everything in there, but this was the starting point because it's a nice piece of furniture that I could put in my home, and then it's a very easy place to store items. So if you've got something similar you can just have in a corner of your room. Mine's in the family room here. It has different places and in different homes over the years. It can also be used as a beautiful display piece. Now, I've sometimes used this as a place to show a special child's birthday and put some photos up, or it might be Christmas time and I've put the nativity scene on the top, and so it's still quite useful. But anyway, I'll show you. Let's dive right in, figuratively speaking, to the treasure box. Now at the moment, it's not full because I have maybe a year or two ago, I actually took a lot of things out and I sat myself in the middle of a room and positioned all of my children's things. And then once I got my children's things in their respective piles, then I did each pile and I identified where I wanted to store it and how I wanted to store it. So here's a little bit of my extremely I do organize things a lot. I'm very systemized, so I know how to store, I know how to categorize, I know how to chunk, I know how to filter and remove all the clutter. So I do that in a lot of areas of my life, not just with my children's collectibles. I do it in my job, I do it in my work, I do it with my the information that I share and I collect and I disseminate for my clients in counseling and coaching. So it's an easy skill for me. Let's get into it. So in here, it's a really easy way of just popping things when they're no longer wanted to be stored on the piano or on the top of here, or it's a photo that's being replaced by a more current photo. And you can store them in here for as long as you need, but then they can go into a further place. But let me show you a couple of the items I've got in here. We have some trophies. Now, this one is for my middle daughter at high school. So I'll just put that there. I'm sure they don't want me to tell you all of their achievements, but I'm a proud mum, so of course I'm wanting to. This is, let me see what this one is. A Vice evening one. Okay, I've got some sporting trophies in here as well. I find this quite fascinating. Do you have any kids that have done the woodwork at high school? This is actually, if you don't know what that is, it's actually a serviette holder. Really, really handy, but because this is my first child's workmanship, work ladyship, and this is my second child's workmanship. Both the same school, both the same assignment, came out looking very different, but obviously had the same template in their woodwork class. I have another piece that was just done by my son when he was in scouting, and it says a chip off the old block. Now I can't throw these away. These are like gorgeous pieces that my kids, he was 7 or 8, probably 8 actually. I can't throw them away. I want to keep these. I will give my children their things when the time is right and they can decide what to do with them. I have medals that one of my children has achieved. I have ribbons from their races. Now, you don't always know which events these ribbons are for, but you can actually put it on the back. And I'd advise, that to happen straight away. These ones, I didn't do it. And so I don't know which year these were. My goodness me. She may remember, but potentially she doesn't. Some of the other pieces that she's been given actually do have, like these ones here, there are medals for achievement during the year, and they actually have engraved on the back end of it who it was for, what event it was for, what year, the whole lot, which is fantastic for the school to do that. I have also collected any photos that are no longer for display. The school the school candidates for awards nights, because I like to see those things. When I was young, they didn't have award nights, but I kept my Eisteddfod directories and who else was participating in the Eisteddfods when I was. Invitations, there's attendance awards, because, we forget the things we were involved in. Now, the beautiful thing, there's something for me, my crystal gridding workshops and the ads that I had put up. The beautiful thing about collecting this sort of stuff is that you physically keep it, you physically can see it, but then later on when cataloging it, it's actually there and you've got the dates. You don't have to necessarily go through a written journal to go, Thursday night this week, we went off to the awards night. And on, Tuesday the 15th, we were participating in that event. You don't have to go through a written journal to pull out all the details later on for that particular child. It's too much. You just can't do it that way. So my advice is that you actually physically collect and then you can collate it. And let me show you how that happens. Let me just pop these back. I've got photographs in here. Look, before I end this little box, I have to show you this. This, coming a bit closer, this was made by my grandmother, my nana, who was a tailor dressmaker, and she made this for me, and I wore this. So she did such beautiful work that I collected a number of pieces that she made, and I had my daughters wear some of them as well. And she's done the most beautiful little rosebud, tiny little rosebud embroidery there, and all the lace. She was actually 12 years old, my nana, good story. She was actually 12 years old when she made a comment to her mother. Mind you, this is in the 20s, 1920, 1929 it would have been. And she made a comment to her mother and said something potentially negative about her mother's dressmaking. They didn't have sewing machines. They didn't have, it would have been a treadle one. They didn't have electricity, so it was all hand done. So she made a comment to her mother about her mother's dressmaking of her own little outfit when she was 12. And the mother said, well, you can do the rest yourself. So from then on, my nana, at the age of 12, needed to make her own clothes. And because she started so young, she became like a professional tailor, and she did the most beautiful workmanship, and it's so delicate and fine, and it's all hand done. Well, this was probably done with a sewing machine, but she did do everything by hand, so she knew it all intricately. So I've kept that. That's heritage for me. And I think that there's a lot of things that we may find that we want to keep just for the sentimentality of it, or because it is a hand-me-down and it has actually got a lot of personal value. And I'm not talking about monetary value at all. Let me pop these away so then I can show you what you do next after collecting them in one place, because it doesn't need to be a big affair. After collecting them in one place, you can then portion them out and have one child's mementos and then do something with them. So you might actually start removing the things you don't want, because after you've got 15 paintings when they're 4 years old and their brush strokes improve over 1 year, you decide that there's only one of those that you really want to keep, and that was the one where they were trying to write their name, and you know that, so that's a significant piece to keep. But initially there's a lot of artwork when our children are growing up, so you do get to learn how to filter. Now I'm going to only show you some of what's in here because everyone's going to have different collectibles, and I appreciate that they can be sometimes very bulky and they can be big, like what's in here. And this is just one box that I have. I have one box for this one particular child, Jaylee's, and items in here will end up in here as well. But what I have done to date is put them in years. So I got all of her stuff together in one big pile, and I chunked it, and it was there on the floor, and I knew then it was the task to then sort that out. So then I started to put them into years. So her birth year, 2004, then 2005, 2006, 2007, and I had a little piece of paper in front of each little pile so that I could identify the paintings that I, had written on. It was 2008, or her handwriting, or the pictures, and what was going on in the photo. It was someone's birthday, so I knew what year it was. And then I had each in separate piles by the year. So after having done that, now, like I said, things can be quite bulky, and then we can end up with packets that are actually quite big and full, and that's okay. You need to put them somewhere to start with. But ultimately, you can put the flat things like report cards and smaller photos that they've done, and grab yourself some document wallets. I actually have different color document wallets for each of my kids, so then I could easily see which ones to grab, and I've put a year on the front. Now, in there, I've just put them all together. That's all I've done at the moment for these packets. So for 2012, it's everything that happened in 2012. I've collected it together. So then the next step for this is actually to go through. It doesn't take long, and you can do these in stages. Do you see? You can do them in stages. So the next task for this particular project of collating my children's collectibles is to just do a summary sheet for the front and go, oh, okay, yep, January this has happened, February this happened, oh yeah, there's that went on, and there's a report card there, and there's a school, oh yep, okay. And so then I can just do a quick summary of what happened in that year, close it up, then I don't have to worry about it again. I don't really, because it's all been done. 2013, there's some identifiable artwork that she did at high school. Now, my daughter was very good at drawing in her early years. She loved to sketch, and that's like a female heritage, genetic thing, it seems. So did I, so did my mother, so did my nana, so did her great-grandmother. And I actually have hand sketches from almost every one of those generations. I've done a self-portrait myself. My mum has got sketches of James Dean on calico. I've got my nan's artwork, and then a grandmother of hers actually did a self-portrait on calico as well, and I have that. So there's definitely a generational influence there, genetic influence. So keeping these really beautiful pieces shows where the influences come from, and some of it might be conditioning, and some might be just the personality that they've brought within. Their absolute soul is coming to fruition, and we can see that, and bless those children. And so what you can then do is just collect them all together and have them in a box. Now, I have 5 children, so I've got a box for each of them, and as my eldest became 18, I believe she might have been 21 actually, I actually bought her a similar thing, and I presented her with her collectibles and put them into one. It was a beautiful carved, like a barley chest, and I put all of her collectibles in there. Now there's some video. I still have VCR. I still have videotapes of when she did lots of dancing, and her ballet and her Irish dancing concerts on not CDs, on DVDs. And I have all of those because I'm not going to be the one to throw them out. That's for them to do. They can do that. But this is one box for one child, and it's labelled on the outside. I always know that when it's stacked up in another place in the garage, it's all neat and tidy. It's so easy to find what I need. If one of my children needs a certificate or they need their report card, I know exactly where it is. And the beauty is that if you do it on a regular enough basis, you can do it like now, like school holidays or when the kids are around, and just bring things out and just talk about it. Even taking photographs and sending messages to the children who've left home and inspiring them to do the same thing, or isn't that so cute, or sharing it in a family group app so that we can all stay connected to our roots, stay connected to who we are, stay connected to our family. We spend so much time and heart in raising children, and it's such a beautiful experience to do that. And then when they go off, we mustn't forget them. We mustn't allow them to forget us, or to forget the roots from where they came from either. So just occasionally being able to share some of their childhood, especially when they become parents themselves, it's a little bit more meaningful. Look, today it's been pretty exciting to share with you a lot of different ideas about the journaling aspect and the skills that I have in that regard. So I hope that you've gained some benefit from what I've shared today. There's been a lot to show you. I really hope that there's been some elements within the last number of weeks that I've been doing these videos that have gained you specific, maybe challenges, but gained you specific ideas and guidance around how to do journaling in different ways and for so many different reasons. So there's so much more to share though, so stay tuned. For now, I'm wishing you to have the best day, and reach out and let me know what captured you perhaps the most, or what's challenging you the most. But by all means, if you want to talk about any other aspect of what I teach and share and coach, then please just reach out. My name's Leanne James, Lotus Energies, and today I want you to rise up and live your spirited life. So take care and enjoy your day. Signing out for now.